Hi, Eddie with a Mindful Emergence. Let's talk about grinding flower. If you get cannabis, whether you get it from a friend, grow your own, get it at a dispensary, you're going to get it in a bud form, and you're going to need to break it down for smoking or vaping, one way or the other. Doesn't matter if you're smoking in a pipe or smoking, rolling your own joints, although that could influence how you grind it. And I'll get to that in a couple of minutes, but you're going to need to be able to break it down so that you can smoke it. Now, the first tip that I have is don't grind up a whole bunch of stuff and keep it around dried and ground. All right, I did that early on because I had a bunch of different strains and I want to have them ready to go. Hey, I can go here, I can go here. I got all these different, just they're all, instant. Well, when we grind up flour, what we're doing is we're increasing the surface area of the plant, which makes it better for smoking or vaping, but unfortunately it contributes to premature degradation of the actual plant. It starts losing some of its potency. So, what I would suggest is decide what you're going to smoke, grind just enough, or maybe a little bit more, to play it safe for what you need. When I do that, if I have a little bit extra, I've got a little jar, glass jar, it's called blend, and I'll just put the extra flour in there. And maybe the next day I'll smoke a different strain. Got a little bit left over, and I'll put that in there. And as soon as I look in the jar and go, got enough to smoke, then I'll instantly use that up. So I'm not accumulating a lot of dried flour. I suggest you consider that in your grinding process. So let's actually talk about the devices. And we're going to start with this particular device that I borrowed from Margaret. And I say that because it says PAX on it, and she is the one that primarily uses our PAX vaporizer. And so she keeps that with her vaporizer because she has found that grinding the flour too fine, which I do, doesn't really work very well with her vaporizer. So she has her bud and she grinds it up more coarsely than I would use it. But I borrowed it yesterday because I wanted to roll a joint. I know I'm the guy that says I don't roll joints. And by the way, that video's gotten over 300,000 views. I can't believe it. What I actually said in the video is I seldom smoke joints. Occasionally I do, but I wanted to because there was a new product I wanted to check out that one of you folks sent me for smoking joints, and I wanted to try it out. So back in the day, when I smoked joints, some of you can relate to this. I'd get a bag of weed and we'd take the shoebox top and then we would clean it. We would break it all up, get the sticks out and the seeds, because this was before sinsemilla. Sinsemilla is a Spanish word that basically means without seeds. They finally figured out how to cultivate this stuff so they would keep the female and the male plants apart so that the females weren't producing seeds, which reduces the potency of the plant because it's generating energy for the seeds, right? So this was pre-sinsemilla, so you had to get all the seeds and get the sticks out, and then I have some bud, and I would just go like this with my hands, and then afterwards, right? Did you do this? Oh, that smells so good. And then that's as far as that was good enough to roll a joint with. Well, I'm not doing that now so much. Don't need to. There's no seeds in the stuff I'm getting. So I borrowed this, ground it up, and did my thing. What was interesting is, well, I'll show you how this works, first of all. So maybe you haven't seen it. So you take the top off and you put the bud in there and you just grind it up like that. And what happens, you just keep turning it, right, by hand. If the power goes out, no problem, right? And so then it collects in this little chamber, and you just take your little brush or whatever and just take it out. What was interesting is I found out that there's a bottom chamber in here, and Margaret had never emptied it. And guess what was in here? Something called kief. Now, if you're grinding flour, you're eventually going to collect this stuff called kief, which is basically concentrated powder of the cannabis strain, right? The dried cannabis. And it's real fine and it's very concentrated and it's gold dust. And I was so excited. I go, holy cow, there's all this kief. So what I did is I collected it and just added it to the flower that I was smoking. And yeah, it adds more potency. So make sure that you are collecting any kief. And make sure that you clean it out. I don't use water or anything. I just use this brush. And this is really good. There's not a lot of stuff in here. All right. I don't use water or anything. I don't see the point in that. I just brush it. You don't want it getting sticky and stuff like that. So that's what I use, what she uses for the PAX vaporizer. And if I'm going to use joints, that's what I'll use to grind up flour for that, so it's not too fine. But when I smoke out of my water pipe or any other device that I have like that, I use this one. This is by a company called Safe Night or Space Night. And it's basically a receptacle. It's a battery operated grinder. It comes with, of course, a charger that plugs into a USB port and don't have to charge it up very often here and there. But I take the bud, break it up a little bit because you can't just throw a great big bud in. That doesn't work. Break it up a little bit, screw it on, and press the button. And it goes for about 20 seconds. I'd turn it on, but it doesn't actually work unless you have something in it. And then when I'm all done, it usually just takes one go. I think it's like 20 seconds. And then I just use my little brush and extract what I need. And if you look at the container, you can see that I've ground a lot of flour in here. And again, I don't use water or anything. It doesn't seem to be a problem. I just make sure that I clean this really, really well and get underneath the blades. I got a little nail. I go in and I clean underneath. And then, speaking of kief, sometimes the stuff will accumulate on the little blades. So I'll just scrape that off, get all the goodness. And that's very simple. So choose a grinder for your particular needs. Maybe you preferred ground differently than me. So just find out what works. You might have more than one grinder. These aren't expensive. I think this thing cost me like $25 or something. And these are really cheap. You can get them at any dispensary and probably any head shop around. So those are some ideas, some tips that I have. I know that you guys are using grinders out there. If it's a particular type of grinder that you just think is the best, make a comment in there. We're all learning from each other. I really appreciate the comment. Well, I was going to say the comment. I appreciate 99% of the comments. Every once in a while, I got somebody in there who wants to give me a hard time, and that's okay. If it makes them feel better, doesn't affect me at all. And I don't delete the comments. Just people can say whatever they want to say, and that's okay with me. I'm just here trying to share what I've learned, stimulate a conversation, and it appears that we've created somewhat of a community here where people can come and talk about this important topic about how to use this amazing sacred plant in the best possible way for our wellness, for our benefit, for our spiritual evolution. So thanks for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, this would be a good time to do it. A lot of good stuff coming out. And I'll see you next video.